Hi, I'm Ashley, and today I'm going to teach you how to crochet this Los Angeles Lakers logo. So if you have a team that you really like that you haven't seen a logo for on my channel yet, leave a comment down below and I'll see if I can maybe make one for that team in the future. I really like this small motif style pattern because it can be easily added to bigger projects. So for example, you can just continue to crochet and maybe do stripes or a solid color and have it be at the end of a scarf. Or you can incorporate it into a blanket by just making a bunch of squares of the same size. Some of them can be the logo and some can just be the team colors. Then you can stitch it together at the end. Or you could incorporate the pattern into like a beanie or an item of clothing or a bag or something like that. So it's just really versatile and the possibilities really are endless with this type of motif. So let's get into how to actually crochet the Los Angeles Lakers logo. Okay, so first the materials we're going to need to crochet the LA Lakers logo. First is yarn. I love this yarn from Hobby Lobby. It's an acrylic weight 4 yarn, and I have it in purple, which their version is grape, and yellow, which is this nice warm yellow. So these were the closest I could find to the Lakers colors. Use whatever weight 4 yarn you want. I like acrylic because it's really durable. And I love this yarn because it's nice and soft. In addition to that, we need our crochet hook. So I'm using a size H 5.0 millimeter crochet hook. And then we'll need a yarn needle for weaving in our ends and scissors or something to cut your yarn and the crochet chart or pattern. So I have the crochet chart here. For a chart like this, we're going to start at the bottom right of the pattern and work in rows. So we're going to start here and work across and then come back for row 2. So all of the odd rows are worked right to left. All of the even rows are worked left to right. And then it's just a matter of counting and color changing. So let's jump in. My background is going to be yellow and the letters are going to be purple. So I'm going to start by getting my yellow yarn ready here. This brand new skein. So give me a second to get it started. There we go. Wrap up that extra tail there. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and get my purple yarn started as well. So that's ready to go when we get to the color changes. Get a little bit out here. Okay, so that'll be ready. We're going to start with our yellow. So this pattern is all worked in single crochet. If you don't know how to do the single crochet, I have a video on my channel. Just search Crafty with Ashley single crochet. It's like a 30-second video that teaches you how to do it. We're going to start with a slip knot. So typically when you're starting crochet, you're starting with a slip knot. So we'll get that in. And then we're going to do a foundation chain. So our foundation chain row is going to have the number of stitches in the first row plus 1. So it'll be 22 chains. 21, 22. Okay, so that's our foundation chain. Now we're going to turn and start working on row 1. So I work into the back loop on my foundation chain. If you don't know what that is, or you don't have a typical way that you work into a foundation chain, check out my video crocheting into the foundation chain for 3 different variations. But I'm going to start by doing a single crochet into the second chain from my hook. So I'm skipping that first one and working into the second one and just single crocheting. And I'm going to do that in each chain across to get 21 single crochets. Now, one thing to note is, at least for me, I don't know if this is for everybody, when working a color changing pattern like this, which I'll show you how I carry along the yarn, I tend to work a little bit tighter during the color changes. So I'm going to consciously kind of tighten up my stitches for these first 2 rows before the color changes. That way I have a consistent tension once I start the color changes. So I'm going to work just a little bit tighter. And again, just doing single crochets in each stitch across to get to 21. That's 3, 4, 19, 20, 21. Okay, so that's row 1 of my pattern. So now again, row 2, I'm going to work left to right. Doesn't really matter. It's all the yellow background color. So I'm just going to do 21 single crochets back across. So when I turn in single crochet, I do not do a turning chain. I just pull up that ending loop just a little bit more so that it's slightly looser. And then I go straight in with my first single crochet. Again, I don't do a turning chain. One other thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to work over this tail so that I don't have to weave it in later. So to do that, I'm going to pull that tail up to this row, and I'm going to make sure that my crochet hook, when I put it through the previous stitch, goes under that yarn, and then I'm going to loop and pull up my first loop. And now I'm going to do my next yarn over with my hook over that yarn and finish that stitch. And then I just kind of hold that tail against the top of these stitches so that it's tucked into or worked into this row of crochet. Then I don't have to weave it in later. It just saves time. And it's practice kind of working over yarn also. So this is exactly what we're going to do when we're carrying yarn along for the color changes. We're just going to keep that yarn tucked against that stitch and work it basically into our stitches so that it's kind of hidden away. Okay, so I'm just, again, doing single crochet, 21 of them all the way to the end of the row. And once I get to the end of this tail, I kind of pull it tight and then loosen it back up so that it's tucked in nicely. So I'll show you that in just a second. Okay, so I'm going to cut off just a little bit of this tail to show you what I mean, because I just had a little bit too much of that starting tail. So what I do is I pull that nice and tight. So basically it like curls up my fabric that I've crocheted, and then I stretch it back out until it's nice and straight and not affecting the shape at all, okay? And then that will tuck it in, okay? So I'm gonna do that one more time. Again, I'm just gonna cut off just a little bit more here because it's too long. Okay, so I'm gonna pull it nice and tight, and then when I stretch it back out, I'm gonna take the hook out just so you can see better. You'll see that tail get tucked into the stitches and just completely disappear. Okay, and then we don't have to worry about our ends, weaving in ends as much at the end. It'll just be the final one that we have to weave in. Okay, so now I'm at the end of this row, and I'm gonna start row 3, which is the start of my color changes. Okay, so again, the odd rows are worked right to left. So I'm gonna start my color changing, but I'm gonna start by crocheting 6 single crochets in yellow. Okay, so again, I don't do a turning chain, just pull it up a little extra. And I'm gonna do 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now on the 6th though, because I'm color changing now, I'm not gonna finish this single crochet. I'm gonna insert my hook, yarn over, and drop a loop. But when I still have these 2 loops on my hook, I'm not gonna yarn over and pull through to finish the single crochet. I'm gonna add in my new color. Okay, so I'm gonna pull up a loop of purple instead of yellow and finish that single crochet with purple. Okay, so now I'm gonna tighten down this yellow loop just a little bit. Okay, and then I'm gonna carry along that yellow yarn for the rest of the pattern. It's gonna be carried along so that we can just easily switch colors back and forth. Okay, so now I have 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 13 single crochets in purple. So I'm gonna work over that yellow yarn and work over that tail of purple just so I don't have to worry about it later. and do 13 single crochets in purple. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I'm going to pull that purple a little tighter so that I can adjust it after. 11, 12. Okay, this is going to be the 13th. Now here I'm going to pause and I'm going to stretch my fabric back out so that I have a correct tension. And then I'm going to do my color change. So I'm going to pick up a yellow loop instead of a purple loop to finish this single crochet. Okay. And then I'm going to drop the purple yarn, pick up the yellow yarn, and finish the row with yellow. So I have 2 single crochets in yellow. Okay. 2. All right. And there's our first row of color changing. So now we're going to turn. And when we turn, we're going to continue to carry that purple yarn along with us. So we're turning and we're carrying that purple yarn along just like we did our starting tail. So we're pulling it up to the next row and working over it. Now for this row, number 4, we're working left to right. So we start with 5 yellow single crochets. Okay. So again, I'm working over that purple yarn and doing 5 single crochets in yellow. 2, 3, 4, 5, pausing here. Now, before I pick up the purple yarn, I want to make sure my tension is good. So I'm going to tighten that down with pulling on the purple yarn and then stretch it back out so that it's the right tension. And then I'm going to switch to the purple. Okay, drop the yellow, pick up the purple. And now we have 3 purple single crochets. 1, 2, 3. Okay, pick up the yellow here and drop the purple. Okay. And then we have 3 yellow. 1, 2, 3. Okay, same thing. Pick up the purple, drop the yellow. And now we have 4 purple single crochets. 1, 2, 3, 4. Switch again. And finish off the row with 6 yellow single crochets. All right, so there we have our first 4 rows of the pattern. So as we continue up, we just continue working back and forth along the rows and doing the color changes, carrying our yarns along as we go. One thing to note, as we're color changing, your yarns will start to get twisted. So you can just spin your project in the opposite direction of the way it's twisted to untwist those as you go so that they don't get hung up and affect your tension. So as you go on, you'll notice that start to happen. Just spin your project to untwist the yarns. So I'll pick it up back toward the end of the color changing and show you how I finish off the color changing and then finish off the project. Now I'm at my last row of color changes. So I'm at row 16. So I'm just starting the same way. I'm just doing my 8 single crochets here in yellow, and then I'll switch to purple. Seven single crochets in purple. And then I'm going to finish off the row in yellow, and I'm going to continue to carry along this purple yarn, and I'll show you how I finish it off so that I don't have to weave in the end after. So I'm going to make this turn just like I've been doing, working over that purple yarn. And I'm just going to carry that purple yarn for about half of this row. So that'll effectively work in this tail. So I'm just going to cut that here and continue to work over it like I did my starting tail. All right, now I'm on my final row of single crochet stitches in yellow. So just doing 21 single crochets to finish it off. And now I'm gonna finish it off. So I'm gonna cut a tail here and then just pull this loop, one more loop through to create a knot. And then I just need to weave in this final end. So this is where I use my yarn needle. So I'm gonna thread it first, and then I'm just gonna weave it kind of down one row and back up another. There's not really a right or wrong way to weave in ends. Some people might tell you differently, but as long as it's secure, that's the right way, right? So you just don't want it to come back out. You can kind of zigzag, you can go straight down, you can go straight across and then go back the other way. It doesn't really matter. Just do it however you feel like it. I find it easiest to work through a few of the stitches one way and just pull it through all of them. And then turn and work through the stitches back the other way. And that's just the way that I have found is most efficient, and it's secure and it doesn't come out. Okay. You can keep going if you want and do it through a couple more times, but I don't find the need to do that. Okay, cut it right off at the base and then stretch it back out and it disappears. Okay. So there is our finished team logo for the LA Lakers. So again, here is that finished LA Lakers logo. I think it's just a really fun way to personalize a gift for somebody or to create something for yourself that's going to be meaningful. So if you like this video, please hit the like button. It really does help out the channel. Also, check out my channel for even more content with a bunch of informational videos and patterns. Thank you so much for watching. Have an awesome day.